Welcome back to the Burr Investor Podcast, where our mission is to empower aspiring real estate investors in their journey towards building generational wealth. I'm here today with Dr. Laura Duncan, Executive Director of Ascencia, as well as with Camille Guerrero, Director of Development. Thank you, ladies, for being here today. And more importantly, thank you so much for what you do for the community and for your service.
Thank you,
Of
Alex.
course.
Absolutely. So I was introduced to Essentia a little bit over a year ago, and I was really blown away by what you guys do, again, specifically for the local community, for homelessness. And it was truly special. And I got the opportunity to be involved with the guest chef breakfast, and that's phenomenal, right? And thanks to Camille for introducing me to that. We are both proud Rotarians at the Glendale Noon Rotary Club, and that's how I learned about it. Now, the thing that I feel, it's unfortunate and it's very sad is how come I learned about it just a year ago, right? And I'm sure there are others out there that may have not heard of Essentia. And that's normal, but what I want to do here is do my best to spread the word, spread awareness about what you guys do, the impact, how it affects, housing, right? This is a real estate podcast, how it affects housing, how it affects the local market in general, and how people can get involved, right? Because there's many ways people can get involved. There's a lot of people out there that want to do good. However, they don't know how. So I feel this is a great way. You guys are an amazing organization, in my opinion, and a great way for people to get involved. So without further ado, Dr. Duncan, if you can please share a little bit about your background and how you got involved.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if we have time for my whole background, but uh, I've always worked in the nonprofit sector ever since, and a little bit aside this and that. I've done some teaching and other things, but I'm just wired that way. So I worked my way through various nonprofits, and up in about 2011, I got introduced to the homeless services world through the Veterans Administration in West LA. I was working on their campus with homeless programs. And prior to that, I'd been like in workforce and career development with Goodwill and in children's services agencies. I was a D-rate foster parent for like 7 years. So I was doing that while I was working. I ended up landing this job with Ascencia originally in 2014, and then promoted like into this current position in 2018. Hopefully going to be my last job. I I like working in homeless services because you get to work with everybody. It's not just children. It's not just certain demographics. It's everybody.
No one left behind. I mean, that's very special. Like you said, you're wired for service, so that's amazing.
Yes.
Camille, would you like to add anything to that?
Sure. Like Laura, I'm wired up the same way. You have to have that heart before you have that head knowledge to want to help someone because then it aligns with what it is that you're passionate about. And I've been in the nonprofit arena for 30 years, social services, agencies like the Salvation Army and also Goodwill Southern Cal. And I started here in August of 21 on an interim basis and fell in love with the agency. Really was very fortunate to land the position here and just really impressed with Ascencia. I've worked in agencies that have upwards of $200 million budgets, and our budget is very lean, very small, 6.1. Am I right? Or going north of 7 now?
We're somewhere right around between 6 and 7.
Yeah.
And we do more with less and work tirelessly to really stretch those donor dollars to efficiently run this agency. And tremendous work goes on. And it's been the case for 19 years in Glendale.
Wow. Okay, this is great. So can you share the story behind Essentia and how it came to serve the Glendale community?
Well, certainly. Back prior to 2006, it was noticed that there was an increasing homelessness problem in and around Glendale. So after a convening of the officials in high positions at the time in the greater Glendale area, there is an agency called PATH, People Assisting the Homeless, but it's just PATH now. Something called PATH Achieve split off from PATH, it was already an existing program, but as it went into the deliberately and specifically into the greater Glendale area, it was known as Project Achieve. And then in 2011, that name was formally changed to Ascencia, and we now serve most of LA County, but we are headquartered in Glendale.
Okay. Okay, so very cool. So you do serve the surrounding areas. Location is in Glendale. Obviously, we'll share more information about the address and stuff in the description below. But it is on San Fernando Road in Glendale. As far as Ascencia, what does Ascencia's mission mean to you personally? I would love to hear both your perspectives on this, and how has that evolved over the years?
I'll go first. Ascencia's mission is near and dear to my heart because I grew up with a special needs child in my neighborhood. And some homelessness is something that people with her issues face often. And if not for her family, she likely would have faced it as well. Ascencia's mission used to be lifting people out of homelessness, one person, one family at a time in the greater Glendale area. In about 2017, well, 16 maybe, we expanded into the city of West Hollywood and into other areas outside of the Verdugo. And at that time, the agency dropped the tagline, the part of it that says "in the greater Glendale area."
Got it.
So that's the only evolution that's really taken place.
Honestly, Ascensia to me is just it's first responders mission because we're out on the street, we're approaching encampments, we're meeting the need directly on the streets, bringing people hope, help, consistency, and really defying the odds. Because today, 7 people are dying on the streets of LA County, and that shouldn't be the case. No one should be living on the streets. No one should be dying on the streets. The lifelines that Ascencia provides on a daily basis, annually also, are remarkable. So Ascencia to me just means hope for people and high impact and a solution-driven agency that makes it happen and produces the results.
That's great. And then, so for those that are like unfamiliar with Essentia, like myself at one point, what does a day-to-day process of helping someone transition from homelessness to permanent housing look like?
Okay, well, as mentioned, we are a comprehensive services agency. So we have everything from street outreach and engagement, finding people where they're living, and convincing them to trust us enough to do an intake into our access center. And if they're vulnerable enough, they can get a spot in our shelter. We have to prioritize the most vulnerable. Sometimes that process can take quite a while because people are really slow to trust. They've had a lot of trauma. Once they're with us, they've oftentimes lost or had their belongings and documents stolen. So we've got to help them gather and replace and establish their documentation. They've also oftentimes got a lot of debt that was part of the whole downward spiral, and legal issues, unpaid tickets, towing fees, all kinds of stuff, and storage fees. So we have to do sometimes we have to get legal aid to get things off the books and do a debt consolidation. This can take quite a while. So people don't walk in the door and they're ready to go into housing. Then our case managers, are helping them with all of this, also are helping them develop what we call a viable housing plan. We've got and helping them to establish a steady source of income. And those two things are going to help us determine, along with our different vulnerability ratings. And somebody who's been out there a lot longer or has had multiple episodes and has some kind of qualifying disability is going to be eligible for different housing type than somebody who's in between jobs and can get back on their feet once they get a job. So they get matched to housing type. And that really means, are they going to be eligible for a housing voucher or not? And then once they do actually transition to permanent housing, we provide support to connect them to their new neighborhood and everything they're going to need there, including social activities, so that they don't go back to where their unhoused friends are because they're lonely, or invite them in to their apartment, right, which would get them evicted again. And so we have to do that in order to keep people stably housed once they actually get back into permanent housing.
That's a lot.
It is a heavy lift.
Yeah. And it's a lot of resources, obviously, like you said, legal and the many different other services. And the cool thing is it's catered, curated to that specific individual or family. It's not like a cookie cutter process. So that is very cool. Anything you want to add, Camille, to that?
Just that we have a remarkable 97% retention rate once a person is permanently housed. That case management that takes place after they are permanently housed, our case managers stay tethered, check in on them, like Laura shared. And we just want them to stay successful and housed and not go back out on the streets. And we want a high return on investment for any of our supporters. So if you donate to Ascencia, your return on investment is going to parlay into that 97% retention rate. So everyone wins. The client, the agency, the community.
Truly a win-win situation, and it doesn't stop. It sounds like, once they get the housing, you guys still, stay in touch with them, support them because, obviously to avoid getting back into that situation again. So that's very cool. That's a big deal. So what are some of the biggest misconceptions in your opinion, people have about homelessness in LA County, Glendale specifically?
I would say that I often hear people assuming that unhoused people are mentally ill,
Right.
addicts, and criminals that don't want help, and that it's just getting worse and worse, and nothing's being done to solve it. In reality, the homeless solutions are working, but we need more of them. So I'll give you a case in point. Homelessness actually did go down a little bit in LA County and city this year. It's
Okay.
it's not a lot, but it's some, and those statistics just came out. But I'm not going to get into all that now because in the interest of time. But the thing that I want to make a point of is that there was a stat a couple of years ago that just sticks in my head. Let's say every day 220 households were being moved into permanent housing off the streets or out of shelters into permanent housing. Let's say it was in 2023.
Mhm.
But every day, another 227 were falling into homelessness. So the boat was taking on water. But can you imagine if nothing was being done, how compounded those numbers would be by now?
Yeah. Thanks for shedding light on that. That's really a eye opener for sure. So we obviously have a housing crisis in California. We know that. I'd like to know, in your opinion, like how do you feel that housing crisis has impacted the rate of homelessness?
Well, it has had and continues to have a huge impact. There is a lack of affordable, available housing in Los Angeles County. Well, in California, but we're talking about LA County. There may be available housing, but it is not affordable for most people.
That's for sure.
Yeah, and then when affordable housing is built, there was a situation in Glendale. I'm going to say maybe 6 or 8 years ago, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, where I think it's a 300 unit complex went up about a mile or two up the road from us. And it had some retail on the bottom floor and everything, very nice. And they set aside out of those, I don't remember how many units it was. Maybe it was 300, maybe it was less. But they set aside a very small number for low income or extremely low income households, maybe like 10 or 20 units out of that. And of course, none of our clients were selected to move in there because they have credit problems and their income is extremely low. They don't always present at their best because they're at their lowest point in their lives when we have them, and they're traumatized and trying to overcome a lot of personal and trauma issues at that time. So nobody gets in. I think it was something like 2 or 3 thousand people had applied for those 10 or 20 units.
Wow.
So that's the challenge.
So the challenge is obviously the demand is very, very high.
Uh-huh.
And the competition amongst the demand is challenging. I mean, like you said, I would expect, for the most part, if somebody is going through challenges, having bad credit is expected, and
Yes.
that. So the solution is just, more house. I mean, 10 out of 300 units, and then how many people applied? That's crazy. So the solution, in other words, is just a lot more low income and ultra low income housing. Do you feel
Yes.
there's anything wrong with the process of selecting the tenants, or is it just the demand is too high?
Well, it's supply and demand. And if there was enough supply, there would be enough available affordable housing for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's simple math, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds idealistic, and it so far has proven to be.
So for someone experiencing homelessness, what are like some of the barriers that, they experience when trying to get access to stable housing?
All right, I've already mentioned some of them, but I'll just give you the rundown. Legal issues, history of eviction, lack of income, bad credit, or poor employment history. It's hard to hold a job when you're unhoused. Mainstream services are often ill suited to respond to unhoused people's psychiatric and substance use orders when they do have them. I'm not saying no one has those, but it's not everyone. It's more like less than half for mental health, and maybe 20 to 30% for the addiction. Okay, they also have serious untreated medical conditions and subsequent chronic disease. They are often very unwell. They've got horrible things going on with their dental work, physical disabilities, lots and layers of trauma. Bad things happen on the streets, okay? And people will drive by somebody who's unhoused that's sleeping on the sidewalk in the middle of the day, and they just assume they're drunk or on something, but they're asleep because they've been up all night guarding their person and their property, is the more likely reason. It's safer to sleep during the day. So they're under a lot of intense stress, and lack of affordable available housing again is really hard to have hope in the face of that. And there's just, for all of these reasons and more, good old fashioned discrimination.
Yeah, we have a lot of that for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Definitely, there's a lot of discrimination that goes on with the population that we serve. But we also, I do want to say there are some wonderful landlords out there that work with Ascencia, that take those vouchers and work very closely with our housing navigator. We have a housing navigator that's dedicated to scrubbing the universe, looking for those landlords, those apartment places, including our case managers, will take that role on as well. And we've been successful in that respect. And they like the idea that they see a case manager showing up, following up, and are tethered also to the landlord. They are a conduit in case something needs to be addressed. And so there's an added benefit because there is someone there working alongside our case managers, so the landlord has that assurance as well.
Wow, okay, that's great. I didn't really know that. And as mentioned, this podcast is for, people in the real estate space, investing, having rental properties, landlords and so forth. So that kind of, segues me to another question. As far as landlords, like how can a landlord, partner up with Essentia or collaborate with Essentia, or how can they support Essentia in a way of housing? Like if somebody does have rental properties, what would you suggest?
Essentia maintains strong partnerships with landlords and property owners through dedicated housing navigation and landlord relation efforts, like Camille said, led by our case managers. We focus on building and maintaining trust based relationships with both current and past property owners to ensure notices of available units for our clients. In some of our permanent supportive housing programs, Essentia acts as the master leaseholder with the clients as the subleasee. This structure actually reduces the risk for property owners while supporting the clients as they transition and maintain stable housing. And there are incentives that help property owners partner with organizations such as Ascencia. We participate in various landlord incentive programs in partnership with city housing departments and other organizations. The incentives, often financial, are designed to reduce the risk for property owners or landlords and encourage more property owners to open their units to individuals and families exiting homelessness. Means they're going into housing, right? So by working with the external partners, we're able to offer additional assurances and resources to them who collaborate with us. Plus, if they do this and they have a place in their heart for the clients and this type of helping, they get that intrinsic reward as a deposit. It's not financial, but it sure makes you feel good about what you've done.
No, absolutely.
That really does cover it succinctly, and it sounds technical, but in all of that, it does come full circle of someone in the community, a property owner doing their part and housing a family, putting that effort into working with Essentia and just giving us an opportunity to prove that it's a solution and it's a successful solution.
And it's a long-term game. It's a big picture for the community overall, so we all benefit. So we talked about, a lot of the resources you guys need. I'm sure that costs a lot of money. So I'd love to, get into funding. What does that look like, funding programs, and how can community members or organization contribute to that on a regular basis?
As you may or may not be aware, the funding outlook is not as robust as it once was. There are many reasons for this, ranging from global wars and associated causes, and the LA fires earlier this year. There's been a lot of bad press about homeless services in recent months and accountability for the funding, you know, and threats from the federal administration to make large cuts to homeless services funding. Some funding has already been diverted to healthcare, because we're seeing that because of the healthcare industry is suffering from some things that have gone on via the new administration. And so that happened during COVID for obvious reasons. Money got diverted to healthcare, but there were CARES Act funds behind it to come in and augment what the nonprofits were losing, COVID funding. And that's not the case now. So community members can support nonprofits like Ascencia in a variety of ways. I don't know if you want me to get into all that, Camille and I, to get into all that right now, but I can say, you just cut me off if you want me to stop. But obviously, we're always seeking financial contributions, and we anticipate relying heavier on private funding from individuals, corporations this year than we ever had before, because foundations are struggling more as well. And so, in addition to financial contributions, people can donate goods and services, things like food, supplies, and they can participate in our guest chef program, which you mentioned in the onset, and assemble things, like put things together for us, and even donate the items that go into hygiene kits. They can participate by helping newly housed people obtain housewares and furniture and things like that. It could be really, we have link to Amazon or other places where they can go on our website and say, I'm going to purchase this piece of furniture for this household, and it can get delivered directly, to that household, because we don't have like trucks and delivery services, and most people aren't going to go deliver stuff. And all of this type of information is available on Ascensia's website.
And I just want to add, for those of you out there that are hearing this and going, I barely have enough time to get dinner on the table for my family, much less 40 people at Ascencia. You don't have to worry about that. You can literally Instacart a meal to Essentia, and we will have someone on site serve it. You can drop off bagels, cream cheese, orange juice the night before, and we'll serve that breakfast the next day. You can donate large boxes of cereal and milk. And again, that parlays into a meal that we can serve our clients on site. So it's literally however it works with your schedule. It's gonna parlay into helping move the mission forward, and all of that contributes to the success of Essentia. In addition to that, if you don't have the time to even go shopping, you can drop a check in the mail and or go on our website and make a donation. And again, all of that moves the needle forward. We serve 50,000 meals annually out of Essentia, and that's a lot for us to cover all on our own. And it comes right out of our general operating. So every meal covered is a cost savings to Essentia.
Yeah, and and thank you both for sharing it, because I feel this is very, very important for people to know. And like you mentioned, Camille, the very important thing is there's a variety of ways. You
Mm-hmm.
know, time, money, things. There's a lot of needs, couch, cereal, all that. That's phenomenal. That makes a big difference. The guest chef, I'm a big fan of that. The snack bags as well. Like you said, I'm going to provide the link to your website, also to the newsletter. If anybody wants to sign up for their newsletter, please sign up for updates throughout the year. Um, and to hear about all the cool stories and the impact that you guys have. With that said, I want to end with one final question. Can you guys share? I'm sure you've seen a lot of things working there. Can you guys share a powerful or memorable story of someone that went through the program and is now thriving in permanent housing?
Oh my gosh, we have so many stories.
I can start.
Do you want to do that? Go
Yes.
ahead, Camille.
Okay,
I have
so
one too.
I have this picture right here by my desk, and this is a family that I distinctly remember. I was here in my office. It was after 5 o'clock, and the front desk closes at 4. So there's a knock on the door of my office, and it's a case manager that had to take this family in because they were referred to us after hours, but we didn't stop there. They were brought into our shelter. They came upstairs, they got clothes for their children, supplies, and then the case management began. This family is housed, okay? This is a family of 6 and they have a beautiful home. The children are all in school. They've been housed for over a year. We have their photo front and center on our website. And literally, this is defying the odds because a family of 6 to find permanent housing with enough bedrooms for them to accommodate this family is a testament to the work that goes on at Ascencia. And I will never forget it because I would see those children every single day in our shelter, and they started out with the same look, scared, not knowing where they're at, parents, right there next to them. But over time, they were thriving. They were enjoying children's art therapy. The parents were involved with financial literacy classes. They were involved with occupational classes. And if you really want to hear it come from the parents' mouth, I would encourage you to go on our website because we have their video on there. But honestly, that to me was like one of the most burned in my brain memories of seeing a case manager coming up to my office with a family of 6 from a little baby to teenagers. And in my mind, I'm thinking, this is unbelievable
Wow.
that a family of 6 is completely destitute and homeless. But thank goodness they were here at Ascencia and now they're permanently housed and defying the odds, which most people think it can never happen, but it does happen every single day here. So I just want to share that because it was amazing. It's such an inspiration to me. That's why I have their photo by my desk every day.
And I would like to mention, if we have time, I could tell you a lot of stories. I'm not going to, similar to what Camille just said about families and individuals. I mean, families up to the size of 11. But anyway, we have board members, and that's another way people can get involved, by the way, if they have skill sets and the time and the
Hint,
interest.
hint, Alex.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Alex. No, anyway, we maintain board member. We always have one. Currently, we have 2 who have lived experience, homeless experience, and they have come through our programs. And currently, we have 2, like I mentioned. One came through is a mom of 4, has just started her own business, has been going to school, and is thriving and doing really well. And she participates on our board and finance committee. The other one also came through our programs as a single adult, is thriving and doing well, and just promoted in a new job. Was in a job for, I think, I don't know, several years, maybe 5, 6, 7, both of them, and now promoted into another agency and another higher position, which is nonprofit work, because she's wired that way too. So anyway, so we always want to have that perspective in our leadership. We also have employees with lived experience. That's a real important perspective to have if you're going to run a homeless services agency.
This is so, so special. I really appreciate you guys again taking the time to share this information with us, with our audience. I'm really hoping to, at least for just one more person to know about Essentia, what you guys do, how they can help. You guys truly have a big impact on the community. Thank you so very much. Again, please check out the description below for more information about Ascencia, how you can connect with them, how you can sign up for the newsletter, and to check out other ways you can get involved. Any final remark, Dr. Duncan or Camille, you'd like to make?
If you are in the area and you know where we are, we're actually on Tyburn Street, so you can always drop by and leave a card if we're not in, or find our contact information on the website and send us an email. And I want to thank you, Alex, for doing this. It's really helpful in so many ways, so I really appreciate it.
It's
And I
my
just want to also hearken that same invitation. Anybody that wants to come in for a tour, I'd be happy to host them for a tour. It won't take more than 10-15 minutes, and they can see firsthand our work and our mission in action. So the welcome mat is out. And thank you, Alex, so much for this opportunity. We so appreciate it.
It's truly my pleasure. Thank you guys for introducing me to Ascencia, and I will definitely see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Yes, for guest chef. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you all for joining us on the Burr Investor Podcast. If you found today's episode helpful, please hit like and subscribe to our channel for more real estate insights. We love hearing from you, so please leave your thoughts, questions, or topics you'd like us to cover in the comments section below. Be sure to check out our website, theburrinvestor.com, and follow us on social media at The Burr Investor. Keep learning and investing, and we'll see you in the next episode. I'm your host, Alex Nahle. Stay invested.